You're watching National Streaming Sports. Over 20 podcasts, 70 shows, and a 3.5-star rating on Roku TV.
All right, how you doing, folks? Chris Lenz. Definitely, I agree with you there. Ooh, I got to turn the volume down. I don't want to get a YouTube strike. Watching the Yankees, Arizona right now. Jazz Chisholm up. Pardon me. 2 outs, bottom of the 8th. Aaron Judge just cracked a nice line drive, single, actually double. I want a minute, EMAC, but I want to get the pleasantries out of the way. Chisholm fouls one off, so it's 1-2. Again, 2 outs with Judge on. Oh, yeah, apparently he's hit a home run, as has Chisholm, all to right field. Anyway, the big news of the day, in case you're coming in late, and I would say that I came in late on this as well, is that Geno Smith was signed, and depending upon what the sourcing is, if you take it from ESPN, 2-year extension at what, 85? I think they said, was it 85? Oh, Chisholm just lost his gold necklace. Okay, well, I don't know if he picked it up or not, but they showed it, on that swing going off his neck. I'm pretty sure he would have figured that out. 2 years, $85 million extended this year. Obviously he's on the contract that he had, the 1-year contract that he had with the Seahawks. So as of now, Geno Smith is a Raider for 25, 26, and 27. And I would venture to say that 85 max, 2 years. Okay, 85 max, 2 years, 75. Yeah, and again, I was looking for what the variables are. 2 years, 75. But what 66 of that was guaranteed. So there's really not that much, room from 66 to 75. 66 million guaranteed after this year. Emax says, when will the Raiders sign Lockett? I don't know. I'm not sure if they will. I think that, it will. It looks likely. Hey, Hennessy. And as well, Swerve and Mervin Fernandez just came over from Instagram. Thank you there, Swerve. Just talking sports. Swerve's probably thinking, like, why are you wearing a Flyers hat? Because it was available. But yeah, if you're on Instagram, come on over to YouTube. You only get this portion of the show, Merv. You get the full show over here where I have guests and other things like that. You might be able to hear them. But yes, Captain Jack Rackham Levy over there on YouTube. So come on over. It'd be nice to have Swerve and Mervin in here. And while we are there, I think the first real words of business, other than the fact that Geno Smith is signed, is a large, heartfelt condolences to all Raider fans and all Raider Nation for the loss of John Vella. John Vella, number 75, that was a longtime Raider, old school Raider. John Vella took over at, get this right tackle when Boomer Brown retired. You remember Boomer Brown is a Hall of Famer. Ed Winchell, I agree. Stud of studs. Stud of studs. And maybe we'll have Swerve and Mervin come over. Come on over, Merv. The water's fine, as they say. Junior's contract, a great deal for the Raiders. Raiders decided to change their mind, get competitive, still want to get Sanders. And again, Ed, it's a matter of will Shedeur Sanders be available at pick 6? It depends on if it's if he's available and if he drops. If you listen to a bunch of talking heads, I guess because I'm here, I'm a talking head. But if you look at it overall, if you want to be competitive in this league, and we're going to bring in Angelo in a minute. Thank you for popping in, Angelo. He's backstage already. Is you got to pay the focal point of your football team, and that is always the quarterback. It really is. It's always the quarterback. Very few teams win with a large, close-knit, very well-maintained and groomed defense. I give you, the Ray Lewis Ravens. I give you the Lawrence Taylor Giants. I give you, the Dolphins defense. I give you even the Steelers defense of the 70s and 80s. Very few people win with the defense. Very few. But even so, they always have a reliable offense. And the reliable offense usually is with a quarterback that can, throw lights out. I mean, What you have when you win with the likes of Phil Simms, who's not that great, but the defense was great. If you win with the likes of, even for both Ravens teams, mind you, Trent Dilfer was not a person that's going to knock down anybody's glam, but we'll see. Juanito 621 and Vervet Sparks over there on IG. Thank you for being here on IG. We will come on over to YouTube. Nate passes Trevor Lawrence and Tua both made $55 million a year, and that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. I don't even think they've has Trevor Lawrence ever been to a Pro Bowl? I don't think so. He might have. But Geno Smith's been to at least 2. Ahoy back there, shipmate. We're halfway to being a what do you call it? An official show with Matt Marinovich signing in. Thank you there, and ahoy back to you. But if Tua and Trevor Lawrence made $55 million a year, and Geno's getting 30-something, even at the tops, 40. That's a damn good thing, that we got Geno at that money when other people that are not even as, I gotta say, they're not as good as Geno Smith. Lawrence has never won anything. Tua's never won anything other than college. But Geno Smith is, at least won some playoff games. Has been in the playoffs. 3 years overall, like I said, less than $40 million. Yeah, thank you there, Matt. Less than $40 million a year is a steal. That's true. When you're paying clowns, I'll be nice. When you're playing clowns like, Tua and Trevor Lawrence, $55 million a year. I'll say that's great. I'd rather have Trevor over Geno, and Geno never won a playoff game. Well, okay, at least he's been to some playoff games. Tua's never won a playoff game. That's true. And yeah, and this is the fine, nice payoff for Geno. In that, this is his last contract, and he will have made basically more the last 2 years than he has in his career, I believe. Or it just seems like it. But, that's the way to go out. I'll take that. Pardon me. And then it all becomes necessary to see who the Raiders grab at 6. If they stay at 6. Or who the Raiders grab, period. If they stay at 6, if they move back, people have them moving back to 10 or 12. I mean, honestly, I don't care. I don't care. I don't think that there is anybody that can be a real disappointment. Yeah, Sanders could be a bust. The guy I like, Membo, could be a bust. I don't think he will be, but he could be a bust. Travis Hunter could be a bust. Is that a home run? Yes, it is. So just like that, was that Carroll? Oh, it was a grand slam. Wow. So it went from 9-3 to 9-7. just like that. Cam Swagger, good to see you, brother. Pop on over to YouTube. Maybe we'll get Captain Swagger to pop in and tell us what he thinks as well. How many wins do you think we'll win next year? Well, I know we'll win. Okay, I don't know. I believe we'll win more than 4. So that's an improvement by definition. Ed saying 7 to 8. Matt Marinovich says 10, possibly. Raiders don't draft Sanders. Get Skittles. Bo, they need a running back. Raiders don't draft. Get Skittles. You're talking about Genty, I'm sure. They're going to get a running back. Jimmy Farrell, hello. Swag, I don't do the requests on Instagram because I do the show here. Go over to YouTube because I bring people in over there. I can't have like people here in Instagram when I'm doing the main focus. I'm out the door. How's 60? 60 is this. This is 60. Voodoo Lou 54. Thank you for being there. I'm going to wave if I can. There you go. $60 is 60. And you had a number 1 completion. Those are great stats. Those are great stats there, brother. I'm putting that up by Nate. Nate joining us from the Philippines. You know, let me get rid of some of these things. Catch you into, okay, 21. Okay, you take care, Swags. What's going on? Oh, yeah. Yeah, the draft, 21. That's pissing me off. Things I have to take care of at my house that might affect when I leave for the draft. And if I leave for the draft, I was going to drive, and I was going to drive up the East Coast and then the Mid Coast, but I don't know whether I can still do that. Yeah, EMAC, I know. I put on some. I cut some of the things up. Carbon monoxide poisoning. Okay. Oh, Bo Scattaboo is what you're saying there, EMAC. Need a running back. We're going to get a running back. We're going to get a quarterback. It just depends on who we get. Seriously. Just depends on who we get. Cap now is watching podcasts on fixing the Trops going to cost $60 million to build it back. What do you think? I think no. I would say no. And I don't think they're going to say yes because they can see the writing on the wall that why build a baseball stadium when they're not going to have a team? They're contractually obligated through 27, I believe. But they can break that lease. It's up to the city can break that lease, right? And say, you know what, go find a place. I think that might happen. But no, I'm spending, and by the way, I don't live in St. Pete. I live on the Tampa side of the bay, so it doesn't affect me at all. Marcus is in here. Thank you. You're freezing. Yeah, I'm sorry. Rip John Vella. I heard a lot about Genty dropping to 6. If Genty drops, maybe. If Shedeur Sanders drops, maybe. We'll see. We'll see. But we'll put the link up. I know that Emac's going to come. Oh, video's horrible. Well, sorry. Fuck it. I don't know why. Salute to the salute to everyone listening. Salute to the captain. April is donate live one. Thank you to all the sports. I'm a live taping. Okay, and with that, I'm going to add Angelo. Hopefully, he comes in. I'm sorry. Apparently, my video sucks today.
Yeah,
I was gonna. There's only.
Yeah, I was gonna tell you your voice sounds fine, but your video is very pixelated. So I think that's what everyone is referring to. I just went to double check on that also, make sure that it wasn't me. But yeah, Cap, I wanted to jump in today, talk a little history of Raiders.
Is it better now because I got rid of one of the other? Is it better now?
Your voice is still really
clear.
Well, radio-wise, your voice is still very clear. But in terms of your video, it's a little bit very tiny better. Not amazing. But it's okay, Cap. We can hear your voice, and I'm sure it'll get better at some point for you. So
yeah. I got, like I said, I have two windows up, and the only reason why I didn't get rid of one of the windows is because I am still saying thank you to everybody that sent me what do you call it? Thank you that sent me birthday wishes, and I thank you there, Shipman. I still have about 300 people to go through, and so I don't want to lose my place. But if I do lose my place, I will. But I'm trying not to. So we'll see that. But I'm doing the best I can. I don't have any. Well, actually, I have one thing in the recycle bin. Let me see if I can get rid of that.
Okay.
I got rid of the stuff that was on the screen. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say. So in the meantime, while you're trying to fix all that stuff, anyway. Go ahead. I've been doing just like you, doing a lot of different doctor appointments, so that's why I've been a little bit on a hiatus with the shows. Just transplant life in general. Again, especially if you're living with it, you do have the chronic illness of not having any immunity in your system. Our dear Anna Diaz right now, she's going through that, Cap. So prayers to Anna always, going through all the tough stuff she has to go through. But yeah, and I know, Cap, you've been back and forth with the docs yourself, so it's all a part of just how life goes. In the meantime, we're very blessed to be able to talk sports and talk Raider football. So, John Vella, Cap, I kind of wanted to co-captain a little tonight and ask you a little bit of historical memories that you may have in terms of, because I know you are the history king when it comes to the Raiders, about John Vella, because for me, I didn't get to see him play. I was born in 75. So, but John Vella winning the Super Bowl for us as a right tackle, I'm sure he was a huge part of that whole O-line group. That really, that's what I always keep saying, Cap, is our identity is that trenches. And until we get back to that identity, I think we have a long ways to go in terms of hoping of getting to a Super Bowl. But yeah, I just want to get your thoughts on John Vella, Cap. Give us some gems about the greatness of John Vella.
Well, first off, I actually knew, because I have to do past tense now. I actually knew John Vella. He had a sports store in a portion of I'm not sure where it was, but he had a sports store in the East Bay, and I went to it. It was John Vella's sports store, and I remembered that specifically, that when I went to John's store, that he was behind the counter. When I first met Raider Jerry, because Raider Jerry was at John's store dressed up in his persona, dressed up as his persona, Raider Jerry. I met Jim Adams there in John's store, and so and Jim Adams is for those that don't, Jim Adams is taking this horribly hard because he was such a good friend with John Vella, and Jim Adams is also a fantastically close friend with Phil Villapiano. Ira 527, thank you for being here. Pop on over to YouTube. So I know that it's like losing a brother for Jim, and I would say that, you know, and I say this, and I tell people as well, I did not have a very close knit social family structure, definitely. So my thoughts and feelings go out to John's, you know, friends like Jim Adams and Art Toms and those people that were as close knit with them as well. John was you said a huge part of the Raiders. Pun was intended, I'm sure, because John was a mountain, and he was a even though he was. First off, I don't know if you've ever had a chance to shake somebody's hand that when you shook their hand, it felt like you were shaking. What was Andre the Giant? You know, where his hand, right? My hand would like come into it like this, and he would like just wrap his entire fingers over my. That's how big his hands were. And he was such a nice guy. He was such a nice guy. But I do think that, you know, as these players that have played longer ago, John suffered. And again, I'm not saying this, you know, to speak out of turn. I'm sure John's concussions and repeated knocks on the head, he would have lapses of memory. And that's not mean, and that's not me being mean saying that. It's what I notice, what I know. And so I'm not saying that John had CTE, but John had bouts with memory loss. And it's not just John. I mean, I'm not speaking ill will of John because he's dead, but the players of the older times where they didn't have the medical procedures and, you know, hey, you're okay, rub some fucking dirt on it and go back in. Okay. It's amazing that there are more, that I should say that there aren't more diagnosed. And I know that and I know others, and by name, and I'm not going to say because they are alive. They are alive still, and power to them. But it was hard for me when people told me, hey, you know, they basically told me on the site, yo, this is what you're going to get. John, and I'll tell you this as well, though. John would be so, his knowledge and his memories of what was going on back then, he would be like right in the moment, and he would say, hey, I remember the Denver game of 70 whatever, and he would go over, and he just had like a memory like an elephant of the past. A memory of the past. And it was amazing. But John had issues remembering, you know, from the day earlier. And that's the unfortunate thing. His memory of the past, well, I guess long-term memory, was great. But he had some issues. And again, I'm not saying this to be mean. I'm saying this to prove a point that when the players of old that don't have the contracts like the players of today, and you see them, you know, doing things to make money, don't poo-poo it, because they don't have the sources that the guys of today with all of the agents and this, that, and the other thing. I like to give to, those signings because it's helpful for them. And I tell you what, the other thing is the players of the 70s and 80s, for the most part. I know a couple from the 80s that are real assholes, but I won't get into names either. But the players of yore, shall we say, they are more apt to talk with you and Lester Hayes will sit down and talk with you for half an hour. And people have to say, Lester, there's a line out the door. Because Lester will sit and talk with you about all these things, and he is the most wonderful person. And if you get in a conversation with Lester Hayes and you spend whatever amount of money that you have to get Lester Hayes' signature, it's the best whatever you spent that you've ever spent. If it's $75 or $100, it's the best $75 or $100 that you've ever spent for an autograph, because Lester will sit and talk with you and just lay it out. And John was like that. Phil Villapiano is like that. Jerry Robinson is like that. The guys that didn't have all of those bucks. I'll tell you, somebody else is like that and is great. Is oh shit, I'm brain farting his name. See, I don't have dementia. I just have forgetfulness. Right? Is Barnes, Jeff Barnes, 56. Jeff Barnes treats you like you're a lost cousin, and he'll tell you what's going on. And Jeff Barnes was the very first person that I was wearing a Super Bowl ring. It was Jeff Barnes's ring, and I didn't ask. He took the ring and he put it on my finger, and we took pictures with it. And by the way, he didn't ask for a charge for me taking a picture with his Super Bowl ring. And that is I know somebody that would take a Super Bowl ring off and put it on and say, hey, that's $25. Again, I'm withholding names. But Jeff Barnes is awesome, and John Vella was just like, what was it? Matt said, before there was a Raider image, John Vella's store was the Raider store. You would go to Vella's store, and I don't remember where it was, Matt. You might be able to tell me that. Grace Bob, thank you for being over there on Instagram. Come on over to YouTube. But John was just sit and talk with you, and like I said, his memory of what was going on back then was wonderful, and the stories and the camaraderie.
And Cap, I want you to kind of maybe talk a little bit about those type of stories, because I think, and again, I didn't get a chance to see it, but when you become a Raider fan and you really want to join the nation as a Raider fan, it's smart to do like what I did back in high school, where and then even later with YouTube and everything else coming out, where you really start to get to watch the older films, right? And that Super Bowl team that we had against Minnesota Vikings in Super Bowl 11, I mean, he was playing with, all those greats, Cap. I mean, Casper, right? But just the O-line alone gets me excited, because Art Shell, Gene Upshaw, Dave Dalby, right? Bueller, like that was Vella's group protecting Stabler at that time. And then just the defensive trenches of that with Matusak and Rowe and Villapiano. I mean, it was we had a crazy team, Cap, like that. And again, if you're a football fan, an NFL fan, those are the teams and those are the games that really kind of draws you in to football, right? So yeah, Cap, any John Vella stories he told you about, maybe those times at all, or about certain teammates that you could divulge to the group?
That I can't. Yeah, no, I can't. Because as I've told you before, I know stories that were given to me by John Kingdon, and I've been stories that John and Phil. Phil, if you want to see a show, see the 3-hour show we did with Phil Villapiano which we did the Chronicles of the Black Hole with OG, and Phil Villapiano gave him the name OG Jack Daniels. That was given to OG by Phil Villapiano on that show. He was just OG Daniel, and then Phil dubbed him OG Jack Daniels. So you have another Jack in the house. But so it was great when I was saying, I don't remember. I just remember that John, and it was you, and I remember most of the time it was in the parking lot across the street from the Hilton Oakland Airport. There was a travel lodge or something. I don't remember. It was the cheaper hotel, and it was across the street. And B-Row and Skull Lady Kathy and Nikki Snow Raider and Ms. Brown was over there, and it was my buddy, Hookers and Cocaine. What's his fucking name? Elwood, and he had a jersey. It said Hookers and Cocaine. I mean, that was the greatest jersey I've ever seen, because he would see and he would always be the guy on the grill cooking. And those parties, John would be there with Jim Adams, and he would just hold court, and people would sit and just sit and hang out with him, and it was family. And again, I don't remember specifics, but you just felt good inside that this, that was the people, like I said, talking with John or talking with Jeff Barnes or talking with Phil and Jerry Robinson, and I would say Rod Martin. Rod Martin's like that too. Just sit down and talk with him. And a lot of the guys that just came back from the Raider cruise, they were doing this as well. They would sit down and tell you all these different things. And I can't wait to be on hopefully, knock wood, I will be there for the Raider cruise next year, because again, I made it to 60, and everybody's saying like I'm being fucking morose, but no, I like the fact that I made it to 60. But with all the pain and the aches and the other shit that's going on, any day is blessed. So it's what those things are. Andrew Mace, thank you for being over there on Instagram. Appreciate it. Pop in. Come on over to YouTube.
And for you guys who are listening. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Cap. Go ahead.
Yeah, and by the way, EMAC, it's not that you're disallowed from this chat, is that Angelo has a back door into the studio because he does studio shows, so he can come in anytime he wants because he can come into the studio. I haven't put the link up yet. I wasn't being an asshole to you, EMAC, okay, is that I haven't put the link up yet, but Angelo comes in and does shows because he does shows. He come into the studio at any time. So anyway. But yeah, it's John's passing is again, and keep up with again, and if I am able to pass on anything, I will. I also know that there's another passing that will hit the Raider Nation hard, but to a select few. But I've been told that that's not it's not information for all yet, so I'm keeping that one to myself as well. But when we lose people that are Big Dog Raider, thank you for being there on Instagram. Mace again, TBH Lovelock, thank you for being there again. If you're on Instagram, I appreciate it. I'm trying to wave it there you go. Come on over to YouTube because that's who it is. But again, I'm sorry, Angelo. I know you said, do I have any? My memories of John was just of somebody that was always gregarious and giving and thoughtful, but he was an asshole on the football field. He was a big, mean son of a bitch.
Yes.
He was a big, mean son of a bitch.
And Cap, when we talk about like the greatness of those O lines, I mean, that O line in particular, right? And I get it. Like, I feel like the Raiders were so great during that time. Just the people that we had on the team, and just in particular, even the O line, we were so dominant at O line from the 60s to the 70s, going into the 80s, that, you know, names like a John Vella could possibly get lost in the pop culture way of things, right? Because you can say Art Shell, right? And people will know, oh yeah, Art Shell or Gene Upshaw, right? But really, during that time, Cap, and I think it was Matt Maretinovich who said, we had Bob Brown, and then Vella had to take over for Bob Brown. And I know you're very good friends with Henry Lawrence, and what I remember is Lawrence had to take over for Vella, right? So we never skipped a beat. We like that whole time, and that's why we were so dominant, and that's why. So and again, I kind of wanted to take the first part of the show when I came on and talk a little John Vella with you, because you do know all those histories so much that for anyone who's listening to this right now at the Captain Jack Rackham channel on Hulu, or not Hulu, sorry, Cap, it's on Roku, sorry, on Roku. I think it's I think just like I think it's Ed Winchell who said it too. Like, I always believe that in order for you to truly be a part of what's now, you have to understand why there's so many viewerships and what kind of built it, right? And you know, Cap, like when I host the show, I'll talk about boxing, but it's hard for me to talk about boxing with people who didn't really appreciate George Foreman, who just passed away, right? Livingston Bramble. Like if you don't know what it was like to really see those old days, you won't know why we're kind of, you know, so into it. We're so enthusiastic about it. And with the Raiders, Cap, I mean, John Vella, like you said, even when I hear your voice and you talk about he's a monster and he's an asshole on the field, like, that's great. Like, we want to hear that. We want to hear about maybe, you know, like, what are some of the games you would say, or what are some things about him that you would say you remember about him on the field?
Yeah, and you said, when he's on the field, that's a different guy. Yeah, and again, when you're and the same thing with, like, for example, Lyle's, they didn't call him 3 Mile Lyle for it just because when he was on the field, he was psychotic. He was a deranged fucking psychopath football player. But when he was off the field, he was the most giving and caring individual that you'd ever meet. So there's that dichotomy of when you're on the field for the mentality. And Lyle Alzado even said it, if you see the old interviews of Lyle Alzado, that, you know, nobody plays this fucking game for fun. You don't play for fun. You play to win. You play to whoop somebody's ass. That's the way Lyle Alzado was. And that whole mentality is different now. There are players that, you know, that don't have that mentality. They don't. You know, I think that JPJ is like like that type of mentality, you know, where he loved the Raiders and you want to go out and kick somebody's ass. And that's the type of mentality and personality that you want for our team. Okay. Be an asshole on the field. Don't give an inch. I mean, in the olden days, you would never see a Raider go pick up somebody that on the opposing team when they're down. No, you'd probably step on them, and if you could get away with, spit on them. Okay, that's just the way it was. Okay, you didn't see that. Okay, but nowadays, you know, with all of the touchy-feely, you know, and everybody goes out at the end of the game in a prayer circle, and there's nothing wrong. By the way, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with religious folks. So if you say Captain Jack is an anti-religious, fuck, that's not me. I'm not super religious. What I'm saying is you didn't see that. You didn't see players of both teams congregate and get in a prayer circle. You didn't see that shit. It's nice, but it's not me. And I kind of frown on it. Okay. If you want to do that in the off season. Or do that after the game when you meet at a bar. Don't do it on the field. I know that it shows sportsmanship. I get it. But to me, it shows that today's game is soft. in comparison. And yeah, I said, if you say that I'm an asshole because I don't think that people should be doing, I'm sorry, it's just the way I feel. But it is the way I feel. And I mean, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to want to kick somebody's ass when literally 3 seconds after the game, you're giving them a big bro hug. No, you don't see that. Okay. And even Matt, the Alzado rule, when what's his name from the Browns used his helmet, to swing in the playoff game, and he got suspended for a couple games. That wasn't his rule. That was the Alzado rule. He did that, and I think it was a playoff game against the Jets. But Alzado went ballistic on the guy because, again, he had visions of, I'm going to fucking kill you, and he took his helmet, and he used his helmet as a weapon. But again, this is old school Raiders. And yeah, the pussification of football. B.R. Hartman, good to see you over there on Instagram. Thank you for watching me flail over here. But again, I'm old. I feel like I might be 60 now, but I feel like I'm 80. I do. I feel like I'm 80 at times. The fact that I can't walk and I have my heart problems and all this other shit that goes on. And then I get mad at Yungasawa Ko, and it makes my blood pressure fucking, sobra. Matagal no olo. Hey, by the way, that's between me and Andrew. Don't ask me what.
Yeah, Captain Jack speaking Tagalog for you guys who don't understand. It's very good, actually.
Yeah, don't translate that, Angelo. But there it is, Matt. It's not the age; it's the mileage. How dare you, Cap? My feelings hurt. You don't care about their feelings. I'm being so. Yeah, fuck you, Savage. Oh, by the way, I was told when I had my broadcast, and I'm laying it out there. By the way. I was told that somebody was offended that I told them to fuck off or fuck you because they said something. And I mean, Savage knows, fuck you, Savage. I mean it like, fuck you. Okay. But it's not a nasty fuck you. It's kind of like a dude, it's a dude, fuck you. Right. It's not meant to be nasty, but this gentleman was not very happy with me. And told me that, and how dare I swear at him? Whatever, dude. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, it was nice. It's definitely nice, Cap, to get a chance to. Because I don't know how many of the shows really kind of talked about John Vella, right? I know that. When George Foreman had passed and Livingston Bramble had passed, it was like every single boxing show that happened last weekend, which I did send you the highlights of, by the way, Cap, and there were several, so I sent you a bunch of them. But
I didn't know you sent them. I still haven't seen them yet. Like I said, I'm still going through birthday wishes, and I got it. That takes priority over other, and I'll get it done maybe by Sunday, and it's Thursday, so maybe I'll get it done by Sunday.
Right. But just the honor that was being given by the entire global community of boxing for George Foreman, right, and for Livingston Bramble, and that's probably one of the things that's different from boxing to football, Cap, is that boxing is relatable throughout all times. Like, people are still dying today. There's still an average of 13 boxers that die every year, from the sport. And just last week, somebody died. And if you actually watch the footage of when it happened, you would have never thought anything was wrong. The guy just fell, and then next thing you know, that was it, right? So I think it's important for us, like what you just did about John Vella, where we talk about the greatness of John Vella and how important it was. And by the way, guys, he won us a Super Bowl. All right. Like, that's kind of, I don't know about you guys, but that's kind of a big deal, right? If you were involved and you helped and all of that. So Speaking of history, Cap, and I'm one of the people that I don't know if anyone said this publicly yet, so I would like to be, again, I like to record myself to say it so that anyone who wants to go back and try to say something, I can go, hey, you could always go back and hear it on the Captain Jack show when I said it. But I'm excited about the Geno Smith extension. And my wife was like, oh my God, I can't believe we paid him so much. And I'm like, relax, man, relax. because I am one of the people that believe with Geno Smith. And I'm going to go history with you now, Cap. When Jim Plunkett came to the Raiders, it was coming off of Ken Stabler, right? But do people kind of forget that Jim Plunkett was being brought in as the backup to Pastorini, who I believe historically the reason why we had gotten rid of Stabler is to get Pastorini, thinking he was going to be it, and we didn't even know he was going to be good. And then Pastorini gets hurt, Plunkett comes in, and then history in the making, right? Super Bowl MVP and the whole bit. Now, I say this, and you're going to have the people that are going to go, man, here goes Angelo comparing Geno Smith to Jim Plunkett. I just want to compare to you guys historical timelines here, all right? During the time that in 2013, when Geno Smith, coming out of college, was regarded to be a first-round pick, and then he kept dropping, and he kept dropping. One of the teams that passed on him, just so that you guys know, is us. We had the number 3 pick. Yeah. During that time, we actually, and I remember this because this is my era of Raider fandom, right? I remember in the news they were talking about, the Raiders are maybe going to be interested in Geno Smith, right? Like among one of the teams interested. But of course, during that time, Cap, we had, I think Carlson Palmer were just brought in, and then we ended up trading down. Like we traded away the 13th or the 3rd to go to 12, and then we picked someone up, but then we ended up getting like a 2nd-round pick because we had traded away our 2nd-round pick for someone else. And again, you guys could look all this up, but I can't remember any historical great person we drafted in 2013, right? I just find it funny that it's kind of full circle in the sense that what happens to Geno Smith? Goes to the Jets. Everybody starts to think, well, he's not that good. Then he ends up with a team just to kind of help back him up. I don't remember exactly what team. Then he goes to Seattle and starts to finally show his potential. What, like 8 years later, seven years later, something like that, right? Sounds very familiar to what happened with Jim Plunkett, who was drafted number 1 overall, Heisman Trophy winner, the whole bit, goes to a shitty Patriots team, and then they're like, oh, we're going to get rid of him after his 4 years, which is what the Jets did with Geno. Then he goes to or traded him away to the Niners. The Niners couldn't do anything with him, so then they just let him go for nothing. And the Raiders pick him up as a backup, right? And he ends up winning 2 Super Bowls for us. So all I'm saying, guys, is before you start shitting on Geno Smith, statistically speaking, I can't remember a talent this good with actual stats of progress at quarterback that we've had come to our team since, I don't know. I mean, I'd argue that he's better than Derek Carr because he had more yards in Derek Carr's best year. Geno Smith's best year beat that. So, Cap, I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, I'm just saying, like, it seems like we're shoring up the defense pretty good to surround Max Crosby. We have our quarterback right now, at least that we could sit with for the next few years. Yeah. That's what we did with Jim Plunkett. Am I wrong, Cap? Like, have we had that great quarterback since Jim Plunkett? Because we did a lot of swings, but you know what I'm saying? Like, we should be, everybody across the board should just be more excited, you know? Oh, thank you, Gannon. Thank you, Matt. Thank you very much. Of course. How could I forget Rich Gannon? I mean, I went to all those games. Yeah, of course. So yes, Rich Gannon, right? But that's what I'm saying though, is why can't Geno Smith be like our Jim Plunkett for this recreation of the team that we have, right? I mean, why not? Why is everybody getting mad and upset? And it's like, relax, man. And I'm excited about the draft. So hopefully Jason Dean can let us know when he'll be free. Because I'm going to use him a lot, ask him a lot of questions, and kind of just play host to the draft show with Jason. And we'll probably bring on, like you said, Jeff will probably come in for that draft show himself, and maybe Chris will be able to come in for that draft show. But I'm excited about this draft, Cap, because we have 9 picks. We don't really know what direction we're going to go. We know that we have a whiz kid in John Spytek, but man, that number 6 pick to me is looking better and better every day, man. It's like, I don't really know what's going to go. I'm hearing draft boards changing every day. They're like, well, maybe the quarterbacks won't go early. Maybe it'll go later. I'm hearing running backs go. So there's so many different ways it can go, guys. Why can't we all just be excited about what's happening instead of being angry or, oh my God, why are we having? It's like, first of all, Geno Smith, guys, is only 35 years old. So relax. All right. If people want Aaron Rodgers, who's 40, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, relax. All right. Secondly, Pete Carroll is basically tied. His contract is tied to Geno Smith's, right? So Pete will ride it as long as he can. Hopefully he's still healthy and strong. But I think Geno is a good thing. And again, for anyone who's like, Geno, I don't know if he's that good, just take a look at his best year with Seattle and now try to tell me what quarterback has the Raiders had that has had that good of a year. And of course, Matt Marinovich, I agree. Yes, Rich Gannon took us to the Super Bowl. So Rich Gannon, right? Which is a long time ago, Cap. That's a long ass time ago for a lot of Raider fans.
It is. That was when I bought my house here in Florida that year. Okay, 2003. So that's how long ago it's been, and I paid off the house. Okay, so that's how long ago. And by the way, I paid off the house in 2014. So it's been a while anyway. But still, if you even go 2003 to 25, yeah, 22 years, you would figure my house is paid off. It was, but that's how long ago. When you say 2003, it's been a while. Hey, Jesse Rader, good to see you over there on Instagram. Come on over to YouTube if you can. Appreciate the positives. But and Cool Kev's in here. Thank you. And yeah, Mike, Sarah, I agree with him. He had better receivers in Seattle, but who's to say who the receivers are going to be this year, Mike? Personally, it's the other thing about who drops. I think that if Shedeur Sanders drops the 6th, we'll take him. I firmly believe that. If Shedeur Sanders drops the 6th, he'll be a Raider. But who else? I mean, this is the time. Excuse me. This is the time of year where you figure out, well, who drops? Somebody's going to drop. Okay. And some of these people are going to be higher than what we expect. I said I'd like to take Membo, but people are projecting Membo maybe to go 4 with the Patriots. Okay, so that means he's not available.
I can see that, Cap. Yeah,
you can see maybe that Travis Hunter might drop the 6. I mean, if we go Cam Ward and Sanders and Carter and Membo, right? Then who's the next guy up, right? Graham, maybe?
Graham would be great.
If it goes that way. Let's say somebody wants – right. Let's say if Graham is there, you know, or Hunter, okay? Somebody really good is going to drop. And by the way, for all you Genty lovers, I go back and forth with Genty. You know, yes, maybe, but but I still think like Angelo thinks, and also like Jeff LaFontaine thinks, okay. By the way, Bo Scadaboo is not going to be taken in the first round by the Raiders, EMAC. And I'm gonna get this on this board right well, okay? The reason right now you haven't put a link up, EMAC, is your trolls are being fucking stupid in your comments. When you say people like Phillip Rivers, who is in the fucking Daddy Sperm Donor Hall of Fame, is a better quarterback than somebody who's in the Hall of Fame. That's just that's stupid trolling. I'm not gonna reward you for stupid trolling. I mean, by putting a link up, that's just dumb. Yeah, you're a troll, but I told you don't have. And by the way, and I've had this conversation with EMAC. Don't kiss my ass. Bring it. Bring something that is respectable and knowledgeable. But when you say that Ken Stabler doesn't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, bullshit. He deserves to be in the Hall of Fame more than fucking Bob Greasy or Joe Namath, okay? And they're in the Hall of Fame, and Stabler is in the Hall of Fame. And by the way, Plunkett should be in the Hall of Fame, and he's not.
100%.
So don't
100%.
say that Phillip Rivers and Tony Romo and Phillip Rivers deserve to be in the Hall of Fame more than Jim Plunkett. That's just fucking stupid. That's, like I said, stupid troll things I'm not going to accept. I'm not. I'll keep you in the comments until you have some substantial good takes. Okay? But Bo Scadaboo is not going to be a Raider at pick 6. That's just dumb. And yeah, you said if we get the good old line, Phillip Rivers should be in the Hall of Fame. Come on. Fuck Phillip Rivers. Fuck Phillip Rivers. The Hall of Fame for Phillip Rivers is the Daddy Hall of Fame. Because the motherfucker has, 13 kids or whatever?
He's got enough for a football
he's in the
unit.
He's in the Nick Cannon Hall of Fame for how many kids I have, okay? That's just dumb. And, Mike Sarah, again, if you don't take Membu at 7, Will Campbell, maybe. But I'd trade down for Will Campbell. I'd trade back. I should say down. I'd trade back, maybe pick up Will Campbell. And by the way, I'm also going back and forth on Graham.
And that's the thing, too. Like you said, Cap, is the trade back part, right? Number 6 could have so many great talents dropping to 6 that someone desperate, honestly, and I don't want to say his name. He was like, "You're crazy, man. I don't think that'll happen." But I think someone's going to be willing to give us 2 first-round picks to move up to number 6. I think somebody will be like, "Oh my God, so-and-so is there. And that's our guy. Okay, we'll swap our first with you and we'll give you next year's first round pick."
Yeah.
And honestly speaking, could you say no to that unless Spytech knows who his guy is? And I know that he's made the joke in the press conference earlier this week where he said, my son's going to disown me if I don't pick Ashton Genty. But I think he was just saying that again as a playful thing. John Spytech, I believe, will do what's best for the Raiders.
And if somebody's just fun with the press.
Fun. And if somebody's willing to give 2 first-round picks for Genty, I'd say take them. Here you go. 2 firsts for Genty. That's great.
Yeah.
Because honestly, Cap,
I take a swap of 1s and a 1 next year for 6. Sure, I'd do that. And here's the other thing. I'd take a swap of 1s and a second this year for that. Maybe you don't get the 1, but I mean, that would be great if you could get a 1. But I'd take a swap of 1s and a second this year and maybe a third next year. Give me some collateral for next year as well. RT Birdman's over here on Instagram. Good to see you, brother. And if I get all my shit done, I will see you in Green Bay, brother. I need to get my shit done. Birdman's over there on Instagram. We'll see. But yeah, this is the draft, because this draft honestly, is there anybody in this draft? And I'm sure that there I should say, sir, there might be a Hall of Famer in this draft. Maybe. Okay.
Yeah.
There might be a Hall of Famer in this draft, but there's a lot of good players in this draft. Okay.
Yep.
There's a lot of good players in this draft. That's why I said this is the draft to. And remember, Seattle was built on the draft. Pete and I think it was John Schneider was his GM. I think I might be wrong. I think it was John Schneider was his GM. Pete and John Schneider had hell of a drafts, and they built up the Legion of Boom in basically two drafts. They built up the Legion of Boom. Okay. So it can be done. And yeah, Stoffel is Jalen Walker, the kid from Georgia. Maybe that's a little high at 6, but if you trade back, maybe he's there at 10. And people are talking about maybe the Bears want to trade up with the Raiders. I know that there's interest about the Cowboys trading up, and that's from going from 6 to 12. And maybe the Cowboys are stupid enough to give a swap ones and another one, because I mean anything that Jerry Jones says about, and they're not even paying the best defensive stalwart other than Max Crosby in the league today, and that's Parsons, and they're oh yeah, we'll get to him when we get to him. That's stupid. And that was like the same mentality that Jerry had last year with CeeDee Lamb, who was their best player on the Cowboys. And it took him a while to fucking get paid too, which is yeah, I hope so too, Birdman. I really want to be in Green Bay. So hopefully I get my shit done. But Emax says, okay, no trolling. Okay. He said that maybe the AFC West is going to be the best. I think it will be one of the better divisions this year.
Yeah.
And I agree. Matt Marinovich hits it right on the head. If Eli fucking Manning gets in the Hall of Fame, Jim Plunkett better be there right beside him. 100%. I mean, I'm not talking. I mean, that class. If you bring Eli Manning in, you better have Jim Plunkett in that class. Because I think Jim Plunkett should go in before Eli Manning. If you bring Eli Manning in, Jim Plunkett better be in that draft class. And if he has to wait another year, it's fuck.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, and actually, that's a very fair, like right there, what Matt's saying about Eli Manning. Because what would Eli Manning's claim to fame be, guys? That he had 2 Super Bowl wins, right? Well, Jim Plunkett's got that, got the Heisman Trophy, also was the best quarterback, was the number 1 overall draft. I mean, like, yeah, if you're putting Eli Manning in, you have to put Plunkett in. Otherwise, that's just Raider hate. In terms of just like what you're talking about too, there's so much talent, Cap, that and when you're talking about like that Seattle Seahawks Legion of Boom 2.0, I think that's why they're putting so much into the defense. Is I think they're trying to like say, all right, our moneymaker is going to be our defense. The defense will go as far as the defense can take us this year, right? But we need a quarterback that can deliver the ball, which we now know Geno Smith can do that. And I disagree with everyone who keeps saying, well, he doesn't have any receivers. Brock Bowers last year had a really shitty situation, and he outplayed almost every receiver out there. All right. He definitely, if we're just going to say people who receive the ball and get you touchdowns, regardless of position, Brock Bowers is in the top 10 in 2024. So we still have Brock Bowers, right? We still have Michael Mayer. And if we keep Michael Mayer, then that's a talent. And I still am a big believer in Jacoby Myers. I think Jacoby Myers is a skinnier version of AJ Brown. And I know everybody always thinks I'm overhyping up Jacoby Myers, but I'm telling you, man, you cannot find a GM or a teammate or any NFL analyst that talk bad about Jacoby Myers. He's really that good, Cap. And he blocks, and he's nasty, and by the way, he's the best boxer out of all the Raiders from what I know, because they all train here in Vegas. But Jacoby Myers is quite good at the boxing game too. So I'm a big Jacoby Myers guy. But Cap, there's so many good receivers. We might pick one up in the 4th. We might pick one up in the 5th, right? There's that kid from UNLV that I watched all last season, Ricky White. We might be able to get Ricky White in the 6th round. That kid was the special teams player of the year, and he was a great wide receiver for UNLV. So, guys, relax. We have 9 picks, possibly more if we start doing the trade down game, right? But Cap, like,
or picks to go up, because again, 9 picks could be 12 picks, or it could be 6 picks if you leverage picks to move up to get the guy you want.
Right. And that's also why we still have trade pieces. Like the Raiders already said that they are willing to trade Michael Mayer. So who's to say we don't do we'll give you Mayer plus our first to swap and blah, blah, or whatnot. So there's going to be a lot of, I think that what I'm trying to say to the group is have fun this year in the draft. Like have no expectations and have a good time, because there's not going to be someone that they'll pick if they pick at 6, there's not going to be a player that they pick at 6 that you will sit there and say, well, that player really sucks. Whether it's Genty or Membu or whoever, Shadu or Sanders, like whoever they pick is going to be someone that played really good in college that you're going to say, wow, that's a really good pickup. Now, Cap, going to your point about you're always back and forth with Genty, I'm with you on that, because if you put Genty behind our current O-line situation right now, I think he's going to have a really hard year. Okay, so we did not address guards at all in the free agency market. And I understand, and I already went on this show and talked about how good Alex Kappa is. So I'm not hating on Kappa. I'm just saying that we didn't get any of the big boys that I thought we would get that we could have gotten in free agency. And I'm not saying that Spytek's done, but we really need a lot of help in guards, Cap. Like Gene Upshaw type guards. You know what I'm saying? Or Wisniewski type guards. Like, we don't have anybody. So you can't put it all on Colton Miller on that left side, and you can't put it all on Glaze on the right side. I don't know what they're going to do with Dalton Wagner. Is this the year that Wagner finally gets in, Cap? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Waiting, Wagner. I've been waiting on Dalton Wagner for 3 years now, I think. And he's big. He's country strong, but he's also fucking. What was the name of the guy that was in? Alex Karras played him in Blazing Saddles. Okay. Mongo. He was Mongo, right? Dalton Wagner to me is Mongo. Big, strong. I'm not saying he's dumb. I'm saying big, strong, slow. Because unless he learns how to be quicker, he's going to be big, strong. He's going to give you a good lookout block. And I'm an offensive lineman. Hey, Nico, how you doing over there on Instagram? Run over to YouTube. I was an offensive lineman in junior high and high school. And there are blocks called lookout blocks, right? And a lookout block is when you get your ass kicked by the defensive player across from you, and you turn around. And for me, it was my quarterback's name was Gerard Carone, right? Gerard played college ball somewhere. I can't remember where the hell it was. It was a smaller school. But it was Gerard Carone. And I'd go, look out, Gerard, because it's a lookout block. The best you can do is tell your quarterback to look the fuck out, because he's about ready to get swiped on by somebody. And Dalton Wagner, what is he, like 6'7", 6'8"?
Yeah, 6'8",
something huge like that. He's huge, but he better learn how to be quicker. So I don't know. And again, Matt's saying, getting JPJ at center, that's great, but now we need guards. So
that's what I've been saying.
Is it Cap? Yeah, is it Kappa coming in? I believe Kappa is better than Whitehair. I believe Kappa is better than Illuminor. Okay. I'm sorry, guys. My eyes are. I have like the eye migraine, so they start to water. But yeah, it's. We'll see. We need guards, and if maybe that's where Membo comes in. Maybe Membo plays a year at guard and goes. There you go. I will see. What we'll see.
And you know, like Will Campbell, for example, is someone who he's getting eviscerated right now for the short arms thing, right? But when I watch that guy, I'm like, he'd be a really good day one starting left guard right now. You know, like I don't know what his tackle life will be in the NFL, Will Campbell, but as a guard, that guy's got quick feet, man. And if you're running zone,
yeah.
Well, I mean, I would, and that's what I'm saying is if Will Campbell gets picked, you're going to have a set of Raider fans going, oh my gosh, why would we do that? And literally just a month ago, Will Campbell was the one being projected to be in the top 3, top 4 picks. And he was projected to maybe go to the Patriots, right? And he may still go to the Patriots. I don't know. I'm just saying that there is so much talent that number 6 will not be a miss. And again, I disagree with, I think it was Mike Sarah who earlier said, hey man, I've been watching, dude, I've been a Raider fan for a very long time. Cap knows that. And that you're absolutely wrong because last year alone, Brock Bowers was the best number 1 pick. Like, and we took him at 13. But if you want to talk about who was the best overall pick of a person that you could have gotten last season, other than maybe Jane Daniels, I guess it'd be Jane Daniels and Brock Bowers. Those would be my 1 and 2. You can't say that anyone else that got picked last year, it was better than Jaden Daniels and Brock Bowers. And we happened to be the ones smart enough to take him at number 13 when 12 other teams passed up on him. Right? So, you know, and I'm not shitting on the other 12. I'm just saying, like, and I'm one of the people that wanted Fuaga, which by the way got picked 14th, which by the way is looking like a generational left tackle, which is what I thought would happen. So now, if we do pick up a Membu at number 6, we pick up a Will Campbell. I'm not going to be mad at any of this. I'm not going to be mad at anything, you know, at all. We need a generational guard, generational tackle, generational O-line, right? And I think where Genty keeps falling in and why everybody keeps pushing Ashton Genty. Ashton Genty is the sexy pick. And if John Spytek believes in Ashton Genty that much and Pete Carroll believes in Ashton Genty that much, then believe me when I say that we're probably getting a bunch of guards. Either we're gonna have to address it because we can't just get Genty and assume that Genty's gonna be awesome. You know, Genty's gonna need to make sure he gets protected. So I'm not certain. I think that the whole Genty, they're talking about Genty a lot, is trying to get everyone so excited that if Genty is at 6, do not be surprised if a team like the Cowboys, who just traded for Joe Milton, they gave up two. What is it? They gave up their 5th to get Joe Milton.
They gave up the Milton and a 7th for the 5th. Yeah, for a 5th. Yeah. So, and you know what? That's something else. I was like, man, if Joe Milton was gotten for a 5th, I would have done that all day.
Right?
I would have done that all day. A 5th rounder for Joe Milton.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but we don't know. We don't know who is going to be the surprise quarterback pick. And I say a surprise quarterback pick because let's say that Shedeur Sanders is not the pick. There's going to be, according to Pete Carroll, there's going to be a quarterback taken. If you listen to Pete Carroll, which most of us are saying like, duh, yeah, no shit. And Frank, I am doing well. Hope to hear from you, brother.
It could be Will Howard. It could be Will Howard in the 5th or the 6th round because he'll probably drop that low.
Yeah. Yeah. Or it could be I like the kid from Louisville.
Yep.
I like the kid Tyler from Louisville. Right? Is that?
I think so. Yeah. I think that's Tyler Shaw. Right?
Yeah.
Right.
I
there's
that guy.
Yeah, they could be a project thing too, Cap. Like someone like Quinn Ewers could drop all the way to the 6th or the 5th, and then it ends up being someone like that. But I really don't think that the Raiders are addressing quarterback early. I mean, just my opinion. I think that the Shedeur Sanders thing sailed already. To me, I just can't see it because I think they're trying to shape the team with as many day one starters as they can to help now. Right? Because we have a lot of needs. Yeah. And with 9 picks, I can see the whole trading down to get more. I can see that. And all I'm saying, and by the way, Mike Sarah, you've never once heard me say I'm some Raider guru in Captain Jack show at all. So let me just get that out of the way. If anyone ever wants to go one-on-one with boxing, though, now that's a whole nother subject, Cap. But
I was going to say, I wouldn't fuck with Angelo on boxing knowledge, man. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm very. I go on different boxing shows, guys, and I hold my own pretty well on it, just in terms of historical references to it too. I'm like a college professor when it comes to it. I have too much boxing information in my head. So, but anyway, in terms of this draft, all I'm trying to say to everyone who's listening to us tonight on the Roku channel, Captain Jack Rackham channel, is that be positive, be happy about this year's draft, be happy that we have our quarterback right now. So stop trying to look for a quarterback of the future when all I said in the beginning of this whole thing is Geno Smith could possibly be a Jim Plunkett for us. It's possible. You can't tell me that it's not possible. It is very possible that the Geno Smith move could end up equaling the Jim Plunkett move. And we could have a quarterback that could possibly take us to the playoffs. If not this year, maybe next year, maybe the year after. But he signed to us till 2027. And the price is pretty good, especially, Cap, if Brock Purdy ends up getting close to $60 million. I'm not that mad that Geno Smith only cost us 40. It's a pretty good deal, man. I think it was Matt Marinovich who said pretty good deal, pretty good deal, right?
Yeah. Hey, Avikazi's in here as well, and Avikazi, come on in if you want to. You know what? I have not put up the link yet. Shame on me. We are about we're almost 100 and 120. I'm gonna put the link up because I know that we got some time.
And Avikazi,
there's the link.
And Avikazi, you have to have listened to the beginning of our 30-minute soliloquy on this. All right. So I was trying to put out a certain narrative and a certain historical narrative to it all, is all I was doing. I did not say that he equates Jim Plunkett because Jim Plunkett's won 2 Super Bowls for us and Geno has won 0 Super Bowls.
Right. I
was doing an entire historical breakdown, brother. So you have to be fair if you're going to criticize me, that you have to listen to the whole thing first. Not the headline.
Right. And for historical purposes, that this is the best signing that we have had at quarterback, and we went historical, was when Jim Plunkett was signed to be the backup to Dan Pastorini, actually technically Dante Pastorini, because that was his name, Dante Pastorini. And then Rich Gannon was signed after Jeff George. That Geno Smith signing by the Raiders is a hell of a lot better than fucking how much cum shot fucking Jimmy cum shot. Okay. Jimmy Garbageopolo, Jimmy cum shot. Yeah. Hey, I wish I looked like Jimmy Garoppolo. I'd be fucking everything in sight. Okay, but I don't. But Jimmy has a career, and he's in fucking LA. He has a career ahead of him. But I still think that Geno Smith's signing was better than when we paid a bunch of money to the damn Bengals to get fucking Carson Palmer off the couch.
Yeah.
It makes more sense because at least Geno Smith is, football ready. We paid the Bengals all that money to get Carson Palmer, who was on his couch, and he's ready. Okay. So I think that's what he was saying there, Avocasi. So to bring things back full circle.
I also, Avocasi, I brought up the historical reference that during that Carson Palmer time, I remember watching it on TV. We were the team in 2013 when we had the number 3 pick that we were thinking about getting Geno Smith. And then Geno Smith started falling on the draft board. And that's when everybody was going, oh, I wonder why, blah, blah, blah. So Geno gets picked 39th. And then then I went through a whole historical. So, bro, stop busting my balls, man. You have to listen to the whole 30 minutes before you start busting my balls about what me and Cap were talking about. Stop trolling on the headline, dude. I was doing a historical reference. But anyways.
You can come in. But you can come in. Yeah, Mike Sarah said it right there. We gave up 2 fucking first-round picks to the Bengals for Carson Palmer, getting him off the fucking couch. Oh, my God. So, and Matt Marino gets and big time. Plunkett sucked as a Patriot because the team sucked. He wasn't much as a Niner, which is why we got him for a ham sandwich and a donut. We signed it because the Niners cut him. The Niners cut him. Okay. So we picked him up for a ham sandwich and a donut and decided him because, again, as a viable backup to Dante Pastorini, who broke his foot or elbow, I can't remember which one it was, against the Chargers, and Plunkett was there, and he was ready to go. So
it was actually against
Kansas.
It was against Kansas, Cap. Pastorini got injured against Kansas. Plunkett comes in after the Kansas game, and then he loses, I think, that game or something. Or his first game wasn't great, but then after that, he ends up doing awesome. Once he became the real.
Yeah, I know his first game sucked. Everybody's like, "Oh shit, here we go." But somebody can do that. Figure out which game I'll call him Dan. What game Dan Pastorini got hurt? Okay, I'm sure it's in the wiki. Okay.
Yep.
But there you go. But yeah, Plunkett's first game, we lost, and but he played not great, but he didn't play horribly. Just that I think the Raiders had the. It was kind of like, and I've said this many times on the show, when Jabustus Russell came in for fucking my buddy, who's actually the last time I checked was the offensive coordinator for the St. Louis Battlehawks, whoever the fuck their name is on the UFL. Oh my God, Bruce Gradkowski, and he came in the second half, and the air was sucked out of the stadium. It was against the Redskins because Campbell was still playing for the Redskins at the time. And I was in the black hole. I didn't, and I moved over to the black holes. That's not where my seats were. But I was in the black hole, and I remember the air being sucked out of the stadium because Jamarcus came in, and he was right in front of me because the Raiders had a deep, I think maybe they were on maybe the 6-yard line or something when he came in the game. And I'm like, oh, my God, we're fucked. And just the air just got sucked out because Bruce had gotten injured. St. Louis Battlehawks. There you go. Thanks, Mike.
So, Cap, it was.
I mean,
sorry, Cap. It was 1980. Pastorini fractures his leg against the Kansas City Chiefs. Then they put the 32-year-old Plunkett off the bench, plays the game, throws 5 interceptions, and everybody's like, "Oh, this is horrible." But then at the time, the Raiders believed that going with Plunkett was going to be better than Mark Wilson. So you remember this, Cap?
Yeah.
Mark Wilson was right. So then they went with Plunkett, and then during that year, in his first game, he goes 11 for 14, threw a touchdown, no interceptions. And then that same season, then Plunkett guides Oakland to 9 victories in 11 games and a playoff berth as a wild card. Then, Plunkett leads the Raiders all the way to the promised land, baby. That's all I was saying. It's a possibility is all I was saying. It's very possible. Would I be shocked, Cap, and again, my expectations this year is, as everyone's expectations is not high. I do believe we'll win more than 4 games, but whatever. The AFC West is a very tough division. But would I be surprised if we get in as a wild card playoff team? And would I be surprised if Geno Smith leads us to the promised land? I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised. And this the 30 minutes that we talked about it tonight, Cap, will sound like gold.
Right. We're talking about it for an hour.
Oh, okay. Sorry, an hour.
You've been on for an hour.
Okay. All right. Well, we did talk about John Vella for the first 45 minutes.
We did talk about John Vella. We did talk about John Vella. Okay. I tell you what, I will say this. I'm going to introduce you to EMAC because he has been backstage trolling. But I'm going to add him to the stage.
How you gentlemen doing?
We're good, EMAC. You're in the middle. So you got us on either side. So remember, don't kiss my ass. You can say things to make them intelligent. Make them intelligent. That's what I'm saying. You understand the difference here. Okay.
I'm gonna tell you. Can I tell you why he's not shouldn't be? Because of his touchdown interception numbers when you really think about it. And secondly, what weapons do you even have for a guy that's in the Hall of Fame that has a terrible touchdown interception ratio?
Who are you talking about now, Steve?
And third, is Justin Herbert any better than Phillip Rivers?
They both suck. Phillip Rivers sucked, and Justin Herbert sucks. The best quarterback by the way, the best quarterback that the Chargers ever had, and listen to me when I tell you this, the best quarterback that they ever had was Johnny Unitas. Now, granted, he didn't do it.
He only played
for the Chargers. But if you talk about I understand that, but that's why I'm telling you, the best quarterback they ever had was Johnny Unitas. And the second best quarterback that they ever had was John Hadle. Okay.
You don't think Dan Fouts was any good?
If you go by that. No, I was getting to that. Dan Fouts was the third best quarterback that they ever had. He's actually in the Hall of Fame. And I think he kind of deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Dan Fouts
because of Super Bowls.
It does no. It's not just about Super Bowls. As you said, winning a Super Bowl doesn't mean anything anymore.
When you really think about it, Phillip Rivers does have the passing stats to back that up, though. That's what he had compared to most other quarterbacks is of all-time career stats. Like he has the most passing yards in his career for a guy that doesn't have a lot of wins. 4,000 of his whole career.
Okay, well,
he's one of the more accurate quarterbacks we'll probably ever see in our lifetime. He maybe doesn't have the arm at all, but he is accurate.
Okay.
And he's very entertaining.
I will give.
He's very entertaining. On the field. One of the most toughest quarterbacks that we've ever seen on the field.
The one thing I'll give to Phillip Rivers is that, unlike me, Phillip Rivers doesn't swear. I give Phillip Rivers that. The fact that he can be an asshole without saying the word asshole is amazing. That's wonderful. Okay.
But he is pretty entertaining.
You're arguing. I've never seen him off the field. I'll take your word for it. But I'm not going to be honest. I'm not going to spend money. I'm not going to spend money to go to a Phillip Rivers function. I'm not. I mean, if you give me tickets to it, maybe I'd go to it. But I'm not spending money to go see Phillip Rivers.
I think Phillip Rivers,
you
if you want to put Phillip Rivers in the Hall of Fame, better put Eli up there too, unfortunately.
Like I said, Eli should. If you're going to go, who should be in the Hall of Fame, Phillip Rivers or Eli Manning?
They're both the same quarterback, Eli has a better arm.
Eli won 2 Super Bowls. And if they're the same quarterback, then you both go with what they accomplished.
They both don't have a lot of regular season wins.
Okay.
They're both pocket passers. They're both the toughest motherfuckers we ever seen on the field. And Eli, when you think about it, he's almost broken Brett Favre's career starting record, streak record. Correct me the record. He almost broke Brett Favre's career starting record.
And by the way, who was the quarterback that came? And by the way, who was the quarterback that came in that broke the streak for Eli Manning?
Who? What?
Which quarterback came in to break the streak of Eli Manning, and who did they play?
The Patriots.
No.
Or I don't even know who broke Eli's record. Maybe
no, I'm just saying the record for consecutive starts was broken when the Giants said, "Hey, Geno, you're playing against the Raiders in Oakland." That's the truth. Geno Smith was the guy that played one game as the starter for the Giants, and when they broke the record for Eli Manning. And Mike Sarah said he was there. I watched it on TV, but that's the trivia question.
And when you think
Geno Smith has a history with the Raiders just on that.
And when you think about the two quarterbacks, they both had pretty good amount of weapons on their team, even really good defenses. Without Rivers winning that Super Bowl, he had a good defense in 2018. And Eli had really good defense when they won that
Rivers never won a Super Bowl.
I know. I'm just saying he still
Rivers never won a Super Bowl.
I'm just saying he still had.
I'm just saying his account. EMAC, come on, man. Like I said, your arguments, I give them to you, but I think that they're flawed. They're flawed.
I am speaking facts about Phillip Rivers, though. Besides the Super Bowl.
No, you are speaking your opinion of Phillip Rivers. You are giving his stats. If you're giving your stats are facts. But when you say he did this, and he should be that, those are opinions. There's a difference.
So you don't think Dan Marino should be in the Hall of Fame?
You can't.
Honestly, no.
EMAC, you got to stop, bro. EMAC, you're kind of gaslighting because now you're comparing Phillip Rivers to Dan Marino. Look, okay. First of all, Phillip Rivers and Dan Marino, for the chat who's listening, should not even be in the same sentence. All right, Dan Marino and Phillip Rivers should never, ever, ever be on the same sentence. Ever.
All I'm saying is there's a lot of quarterbacks so high Super Bowls that are in the Hall of Fame already.
Yeah, well, Bob Greasy's in the Hall of Fame, and he should be in the Hall of Fame. Dan Marino at least has the statistics that should be in the Hall of Fame. And by the way, if you ask Dan Marino if he would rather be in the Hall of Fame or have won a Super Bowl, he's already said on record, I would rather have a Super Bowl win. Which is bullshit because he knows his stats are going to get him into the Hall of Fame.
The reason why I'm taking career stats is because what are you going to be able to get from that Super Bowl if you have a crappy stats in today's game? What else are you going to get?
EMAC, I put you on because you were saying that I didn't put you on. You're getting grilled by everybody in the comments section. We got your arguments. I'm not an asshole.
I know you're not.
Unlike
I'm
Phillip
not an asshole
Rivers,
either. I'm just saying, trying to be hypothetical.
I'm just saying we don't think that your arguments hold water. That's what we're saying.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm gonna do this nicely. Cool Kev is like my statistician when you've been gone. You've been gone. EMAC, thank you for joining me though. I appreciate it, brother. But I'm gonna go back with Angelo. Take care and appreciate you coming on, brother.
But before I say something, Angelo, what's your your Instagram, and I'll join your draft show.
Yeah. I put it on. I put it on the comment, but it's easy. It's REYES Boxing. That's my Instagram.
REYS Boxing. I should remember.
REYES. REYES Boxing. So
anyway,
just find me on Instagram.
I'm glad I came up here to troll, and I love you guys. Let's go.
Thanks, EMAC. Take care. Be well. That's EMAC. He's fun.
I don't mind. I don't mind it. I don't mind it.
No, and that's why.
Yeah, I don't mind it as long as you actually bring.
Yeah, he gave an argument. And he gave. These are factual statistics, so they are facts. You know, like say that he gave an argument, but if he was a lawyer, you can't handle the truth. You know, one of those things, right? I don't get it.
Right.
Phillip Rivers deserves to be in the Hall of Fame? No.
Right.
If anybody deserves to be in the Hall of Fame on stats, it's Marino. Bob Greasy does not deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. He won a Super Bowl. And by the way, he won the Super Bowl with a perfect team, but half the season he was injured. They wouldn't have that perfect season for two things. Earl Morrall bailed him out as their relief pitcher and won, I think, about 6 games, at least 6 games, if not more, for the Dolphins. Greasy's out. Earl Morrall came in, who played with Shula in the Colts, and he did the job, right? And then the playoffs, when Greasy came back, then he got the wins. But if they would have called the Immaculate Deception correctly, the Dolphins wouldn't have gotten to the fucking Super Bowl because the Raiders would have beat them.
Yep.
So Bob Greasy, right here, okay? And Joe Namath? No. Joe Namath got in because he had nice legs. He was a personality. He guaranteed a win, and he was on a commercial with Farrah Fawcett. That's what got him in the Hall of Fame. That's what got him in the Hall of Fame.
And the perfect record probably helped, Cap. The perfect record probably helped.
What? Well, you know, I'm talking about Joe Namath.
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant Bob Greasy. Sorry.
Yeah, the perfect season definitely helped. But look at his stats. No. And at least Marino, I'll give Marino this. He made it to a Super Bowl. He has the most statistics. He had the best stats until I think Brett Favre broke him, right? He had all those stats, and he was a fantastic quarterback. He went to a Super Bowl, and the Niners beat him. And I got ponded for that, by the way, because I was ponded when the Raiders beat the crap out of the Redskins because the Redskins had beaten the Dolphins the previous year, and I was just running off at the mouth. I was an asshole in college, you know, and I ran people out of the fucking rec room because I was watching the Super Bowl, and all the Dolphins fans on my floor, there was about 6 of them, came and dragged me downstairs and they threw my ass in the pond with alligators at University of Florida. Okay. And then the next year, when Marino was there and they were playing the Niners in Palo Alto, I think, it was basically a home game, right? They were playing the Niners up in NorCal, which was basically a home field game, not technically, but close. And the Niners won. And I remember the reason why. When they had on the screen, it said, Dan Marino has broken the record for most passing attempts or whatever in a Super Bowl. And I gave a golf clap. And I said, well, at least he's done something today. And as soon as I said that, all of the same Dolphin fans that had ponded me the year before, the same guys that were on my floor, because it was 2 years in a row, the same guy, we were all on the same floor. This time, they didn't have to take me downstairs because we had the ground floor. They grabbed me and took me out the ground floor, out and threw me in the pond again. And of course, you've never seen a guy get out of water faster than shit when you're thrown into a lake with alligators. Okay, granted, it was still, as far as they can throw. So it was close to shore. But hey, alligators are close to shore too. And we have an official show because Jimmy Furpo is in here saying Raiders. Thank you, Jimmy.
Hey, Furpo. I was gonna say, Cap. Speaking of Gators, you already know that if you can track down that mom, I would love to have Desmond Watson on as an interview on this show to get to know, because Desmond Watson, for you guys who aren't tracking the draft, is the 465-pound nose tackle for the Florida Gators. And I'm telling you, I don't care if we get him in the 5th, 6th, just get him, because this guy, you guys want to stop the tush push, you put Desmond Watson at nose tackle, and that will stop it right there. I mean, he's almost 500 pounds, Cap. That's crazy.
He's gained weight. They said he's gained weight in the offseason. He's actually put on pounds. I think he was like 450, and now he's at 465. I worry about Desmond Watson just dying. Because again, I'm used to be 300 something pounds, and I have a bad history, okay, of heart issues. I worry about that. But the reason why Angela was saying that is because I know Desmond Watson's mom, and we used to work together in Tampa at the command. It's not a naval command, but she is a naval reservist. She's also a contractor. And she works at the last place that I worked at for a regular job. And I guess I don't know how but we were talking, or I just got into, and then I said, "That's your son?" And she, yeah. And so it's like, wow. And I felt bad because again, I look at him, as big as he is, I'm like, that is a walking heart attack. It's a walking, but the kid can dunk. He can he can dunk a basketball.
Yeah.
As big as he
check
is.
This out. Like, he bench pressed 225 36 times, which is more than anyone did in the draft. His vertical is 25 inches, which is insane. His 40-yard dash is 5.93. Like, if you're 500 pounds and you could run in under 6 seconds, I'm scared. I am frightened of what you will do to me. So this guy's a Raider, Cap. He's a Raider.
I mean, I remember when the biggest Raiders were like Grady Jackson and Jerry Ball. Okay. When Jerry Ball was about what, 370? At least, maybe. Oh, Sam Adams was that big too. Look these guys up. Sam Adams, Jerry Ball, Grady Jackson. The guys were huge. Their bellies were protruding, kind of like mine is now, over their shorts. Have Dunlap's disease, right? So, but I would he be a great Red? Sure. because the one thing that he does have is other than the girth, he's got a good attitude. He's a good, and I don't know this only other than from his mom, but he's a military kid.
Oh,
he's a military kid, just like Ashton Genty. Okay, Ashton Genty is a military kid. So when you put the military kid aspect of it, that he was brought up in that way, and yeah, I'm being biased, but I'm saying that military kids, pound for pound, are better at social situations because they move every 3 years. They got to get their new friends and they do all that. Shaquille O'Neal is a military kid. His dad was in, and he moved from place to place to place to place. So military kids get an extra bonus mark because they're better at social situations. They're usually more grown up than their peers. So, which gives us full circle. Watson would be good. Now, granted, his mom is a reservist and a contractor, but the military aspect. And I know that the kid he's all I've heard about him is that he's got his shit together, and that's a good thing.
No, yeah, that's really good.
Mike Sarah reminds me that Jim Morrison was a military kid. Well, we can't all be correct. Yeah, Jim. I remember Jim Morrison was talking about his dad fucking his mom on stage or something. I don't know. It was some sort of. It wasn't the nicest thing. But there you go. Anyway, woo! I thought this was going to be a short show tonight, but it did do the 2 hours, which is what's good. But before we go, remember, I will say these things. Go and get your membership to the Black Hole. Get your Black Hole membership, your 30-year anniversary membership to the Black Hole. This is the year to do it. The Black Hole is doing a bunch of positive things for the Navy, for the Raider Nation fan base. I don't know why Navy came in there. Probably because I was talking about Jim Morrison. But for the Raider Nation fan base, this is the year to do it. Get your membership to the Black Hole. You go to theblackhole.com and you go to membership, click on it. Your membership, once you become a member, it's lifetime. You're in. You pay your membership, it's lifetime, right? And there's going to be a Black Hole app where you can buy tickets from Raider fans. Instead of going through fucking Ticketmaster and getting juiced to the gills on all those separate charges, use the Black Hole app. And there's going to be events and parties and things for the Black Hole, a Black Hole store in Fremont. There's going to be activities. The away games, we're going to do things as well for the away games. So look for it. And again, Black Hole sponsors the Sunday night show. I can't remember that guy, Captain Jackson, will be doing a Sunday night show sponsored by the Black Hole. And we're going to have prizes. We're going to have prizes, man. And so be there at the game. Be there, Angelo, because you're in Vegas. And if you're allowed to be there, if you could get boy out of the plastic bubble type shit. And I say that with love. Yes, I say that with love. If you can be there, because there's going to be, and it would be great to see. And I've had a chance to talk with Angelo where we were actually talking next to each other, not like this. We were actually talking next to each other, and it was cool. And Hollywood's there, and Angelo's got pictures somewhere. So yeah, you can put those up. But
and then there's still the China Mama trip.
There it is.
We still got to do the China Mama dinner.
Yeah. I'd like to do a China Mama, and we can go to the restaurant too. Boom, 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 boom. There you go. Anyway, I'd like to do a China Mama event too. But there you go. But Angelo is always here. Remember, look for hope. And I say this here. Here's my with the crossed fingers. Angelo, look for an Angelo draft show with special guests. And that's why Angelo comes into the show whenever he wants to, because he's got a backdoor pass. He's not going in my back door. I know Kill Kev was going to be right on that. He's got a backdoor pass into the studio. I know Cool Kev, man. I'm pretty sure the next comment's going to be backdoor. Yeah, I'm sure it's coming up. I know. Yeah. But yeah, he comes in. But look for Angelo to do a draft show, hopefully with Jason Dean Hunter and special guests. I will try to come in. Yeah, easy. Yeah, it was too easy. He said it was too easy. But I was there with you there, Cool Kev. I knew what you were thinking. But look for the show, and I'll come into the show. I'm going to be busy.
Yeah, I'm assuming, Cap, that the Thursday the 24th, when the draft is happening, you're at Green Bay. So obviously it's kind of like last year where you were in Detroit and I was kind of doing that whole show and then you popped in. But I'm assuming that by Sunday you would do the Sunday show, right? On that week. Are you going to still be in Green Bay? Okay.
No, I shouldn't be in Green Bay, but I did find out that the Harry Houdini Museum is open on Sundays, and that's in Appleton. So as I'm leaving Green Bay, I will be on my way home again if I get there, because again I'm kind of upset at the contractors that are fucking up my schedule, because I have contractors that are supposed to come in and do things. And I don't, you know what? I'll show you, okay? This room that normally is all squared away, okay? This has a China cabinet and books from the other room. They're all stored in this room because this room has supposed to get brand new furniture. And I can't get the brand new furniture until the people do the front room that has the China cabinets, because they're doing flooring. So because they aren't doing that in time, I have to tell the people that are putting the furniture in this room, you can't come in that day because I got shit in the room. So all of these delays are causing a delay of the next thing, delay to the next thing, delay to the next thing. And it might cause a delay with me getting on the road. So when I get on the road, I wanted to get on the road the week before the draft. But if I can't get on the road the week before the draft, if I have enough time, I'll drive directly to the draft, which pisses me off because I won't see all the people that I wanted to. Maybe I'll see them on the way back, but it really pisses me off. It does. So we'll see about me being at the draft. If I'm at the draft, might have to fly to the draft. And if I fly to the draft, then that means that I can't go to the Harry Houdini Museum because I'll have to probably fly back that day on Sunday. And all this shit pisses me off. So we'll see. But anyway, I'll let folks know. But if not, go ahead. Yeah, if not, you might be doing a Sunday show too.
Okay. All right. And then just the last word for everybody again. April is Donate Life Month. Again, thank you if you are an organ donor. If you're still considering it, there's a ton of different things you can look at right now on Google because April is Donate Life Month. I always try to talk about it during this time because my life is saved right now 32 months because of an organ donor and liver transplant. So thank you. And as you know, Cap, we never know, right? Every day is not promised to us. So again, thanks to everybody who's part of the organ donation movement.
And I was going to get off the show, but I can't leave the show when Mike Serra pokes his nose in. So for Mike Serra, for you, sir, I'm doing overtime because Angelo knows I'm at 1 hour, 59 minutes and 17 seconds. I would have had it under 2. But because you popped in, I'm doing overtime. Yeah, we can hear you. I'm gonna shut up, Mike, because your microphone's got it back. Go ahead, brother.
Is Angelo still there?
Yes, he's still
I'm still
there.
here, Mike. I can hear you.
Hey, Angelo, how you doing, buddy? I know I think you do a great job, and I wasn't trying to rain on your commentary. I thought you did a good job. So
Thanks.
I apologize if you thought I was giving you a hard time.
No. I think you're great, Mike. I've seen you on the show on your treadmills a few times.
So I have a boxing question for you.
Great. Shoot.
1962. A boxer was killed in the ring.
Yes, sir.
Boxer. I'm sorry?
1962, a boxer was killed in the ring. Mike, I didn't hear.
Yeah, name the boxer who died and the boxer who killed him.
Okay, 62. Ooh, I mean, a lot of boxing deaths. So I'm going to assume I'm going to assume that you're talking about something that might have been global news, right? Like, because again, there's about the average is 13 boxers die every year because of the sport. But 1962, right away I start to think 1962. I start to think Sugar Ray Robinson or Emil Griffith, like timeline
there you go.
right
okay.
there.
Hey, you just named the boxer who killed the guy. It was Emil Griffith.
Right. Okay. All right. So because those right away when I start to think at that time, what kind of goes to me. So Emil Griffith, most famously, unfortunately, the story on that is that he had, I believe that was the story about where he had a dream that he would kill a boxer and he didn't really want to go in, but then he ended up doing so. So I'm trying to think now. Hold on. Emil Griffith, because Sugar Ray Robinson did the same thing. So Emil Griffith was in the ring in 62 and
wait. You guys are talking over each other, and we can hear Angelo because his mic's better. So Angelo, when you're done, do the military thing. Say what you said and say break, and then that means that we can hear from Mike because otherwise you guys are going to talk over each other.
Okay, go first.
Oh no, you go ahead. Go ahead, Mike.
Well, I was going to say is they made a movie about it. It was a documentary. I think it was a DVD I had. It's called Ring on Fire, and it's about Emil Griffith going back to the family, the son of the boxer who got killed, and apologizing for him. And this is like later on in life, obviously.
Yeah, the name of the boxer is Benny Parrott, and that was it.
Benny Kid Parrott.
Yeah, Kid Parrott. Yeah, and Emil Griffith was again very, very famously again. I mean, and again, you don't want. Emil Griffith
was a very good boxer, and so was
amazing.
He was a younger boxer.
Yeah, no, at the time when they fought, Emil Griffith had only lost 3 times. He was he had already won 29 times. And during that period of time, I try to remind people boxing had the title. There was one belt at that time. It was the Ring Magazine belt, which is through the writers. And then it was there wasn't even a WBA belt yet. It was called the NBA, which was the infancy of that first ever belt, which really eventually became the WBA. But go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
No, and you're right, and you know a lot more than I do about that. But the only reason I got interested in this is because my dad told me the story. He saw it happen live on TV. They used to have a Friday night fight on TV, sponsored by Gillette razors, and that fight was on a Friday night on that TV. And he said, I never forget. He told me, I saw a guy get killed in the ring once on TV, and I was like, really? So that's why I looked it up and investigated the whole thing. But so it actually happened on live TV in 1962.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, Mike. So since you're on,
TV.
anyways, I'll the most famous one of recent because it was so highly televised, and the story is that it actually changed the rules of the sport. Is I'm gonna get the dates wrong. It was in the mid early 80s. It was Boom Boom Mancini against the Korean champion. And because so many people actually saw it, like a lot of people like around the world saw it, I think it was the very next, not the next year, 85, but it was like by 86 going into 87, they stopped 15-round bouts. And it started all becoming 12-round bouts at that time. And at that time, Mike, there had now been 2 belts that were 100% recognized in terms of real belts, which is the WBC and the WBA, and then that's where unification started happening. But that one period of time in that 80s period when the Korean champion had passed away, that's when it was like, oh my gosh, we got to do something about this. And that's the thing too, Mike, and this is why for people who really do watch boxing and who love boxing and are watching it right now, I always try to explain to them that boxing is a sport where it doesn't matter if it was in the 1960s, the 1940s, or 2025. It's all relatable. We can have a discussion about a current champion now possibly fighting a current champion from back then and what could have happened. And really, like, it has to do with skill and not size. Currently right now, Mike, I don't know if you're watching boxing currently, but the current heavyweight champion of the world that is considered to be the number 1 pound for pound fighter in the world has the same exact dimensions as Muhammad Ali. The same exact dimensions, same size, same weight, same height. His name is Alexander Usyk. He had just defeated Tyson Fury twice. Now, you might remember the name Tyson Fury, Mike Serra, because during the last 5 years, I want to say, Tyson Fury had the famous battles with Deontay Wilder. And Deontay Wilder was our best American hope of a great boxer, because at the time when they fought, Deontay Wilder was like 40-0 with 40 knockouts. It was this insane thing, right? So now, but the heavyweight powers is really across the Atlantic Ocean, unfortunately, just because that's. But I say that to say that when the pound for pound number 1 boxer currently right now is the same exact dimensions as Muhammad Ali, then it's easy to argue that Muhammad Ali is the greatest, right? Like, because then you can sit there and go, well, if Muhammad Ali from the late 1960s, prior to him being stopped from boxing at his peak, were to fight in today's time against those very same fighters, we can actually argue that Ali would have beaten him. It doesn't matter if it was 6'9", it doesn't matter if they're 6'5", 250, none of it matters, because we literally are looking at a man who, and by the way, you'll like this, Mike Serra, Alexander Usyk is 40 years old. He is the current number 1 pound for pound fighter. He is undefeated. He has not lost a match since the amateurs. So it's been 15 years, right? This guy's only lost, I believe, 5 times in the amateurs, and he won 395 times in the amateurs. He's a gold medalist. Yeah, and this guy also is arguably, and I say arguably because this is where we can get into a discussion with other boxing aficionados. It's well versed that possibly the greatest cruiserweight we've ever seen in boxing is Evander Holyfield, who you will remember, Mike Serra, going into the heavyweight division, obviously, and doing the things that he did. And Evander Holyfield's amazing, guys, right? Atlanta gold medalist. Yeah, right. But yeah. But Alexander Usyk, who I told you is the current pound for pound best fighter in the world right now, he is the undisputed cruiserweight champion, also, who moved up to the heavyweight division to become the undisputed heavyweight champion. So he is a 2-weight undisputed champion in what we call the 4-belt era, which started in 2007. And that, by the way, I say it all so that if you do get back interested into watching current boxing, I always send Captain Jack the highlights every weekend. The 4-belt era, the best way I could explain it is, Mike, if you like watching college football, like people who always say the narrative of, I don't like boxing because there's too many champions, then that would be like saying you don't really like college football because there's too many bowl games. It's the same idea. There's the Sugar Bowl, the Cotton Bowl, the Orange Bowl, and the Rose Bowl. And we all know that if you play in one of those bowls, you are probably a pretty good team. So that's the same thing in boxing. Is there's so many thousands of great boxers, it's difficult to just say there's only one champion, because then you're neglecting the other great fighters to have a shot at a championship. So that's why there's 4 belts. And when anytime, Mike, anytime that someone can actually win all 4, that's a really rare thing, and it's a big deal. And it's a very big deal to have a heavyweight champion of the world that, as of last year, had 4 belts. So it's pretty cool.
No, it's good. You know your stuff. I wish I was more updated with the modern day boxing. I don't watch it as much, but I think because a lot of it's pay-per-view, so you don't get to see it as much as you'd like.
So then I want to tell you that too, Mike. See, and this is great. I'm glad Mike's on the show, Cap. So I have been screaming from the mountaintops, Mike, to all listeners who want to listen to me on Captain Jack's show. No.
Get a promo for Razor. Was it Razor?
No. It's the Zone, DAZN. But
go ahead.
Let me just say this, Mike Sarah. So for the last 2 years, the very best fighters in the world have been fighting the very best fighters in the world, just like in the 1980s. The best was fighting the best. Nobody's really ducking each other. And here's the best part, Mike. It's been free. It's been if you have ESPN Plus, then you get to watch all these boxing for free. But if you really,
I don't have ESPN Plus, unfortunately. That's one I don't have.
And then the other one that I pay for, Mike, is a network that everybody outside of the United States that wants to watch football, if you're in Canada, like our friend from the Wild Wild West show, or if you're in the UK and you want to watch NFL football, you have to subscribe to this network. And the network is DAZN, the Zone, DAZN network. That is the NFL network outside of the US. That is where you watch the NFL. But that is also, Mike Sarah, the global home of boxing. Every global boxing match that happens around the world on a weekly basis is on the Zone for the monthly price of $13.99. That's my promo.
Can you get the Raider games on Sundays?
Only if you live outside the U.S. If you live outside of the U.S., if you live in Canada, you have to have that network in order to watch Raiders or whatever NFL games you want to watch. That's what it is. Yeah. And that's because they don't have the NFL network the same way we have the NFL network. But Mike, if I want to let you know, as an American, like part of the reason why boxing, when you said, well, it's probably because it's pay-per-view. It's really not, though. And pay-per-view prices have dropped. For example, the pay-per-view event that's happening next, check this out, Mike, April 26th, and you might remember these names. Do you remember 2 boxers named Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank from the 1980s at all? Does that sound familiar?
I don't remember them. No.
I do.
Okay, you do.
Yeah,
okay, all right, Cap. Okay, so Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank. Okay, Cap. When it went on TV back in those days in the 80s, it was like Super Bowl viewership. It was insane because so many people, right? Especially in the UK, it was even big news here.
Aren't they like 50 years old?
Well, no. I'm going to explain something now, right? So during that time in the 80s, they were at their peak, right? Obviously, like the Hagler and the whole bit. So,
big.
So they were big. They're big. I'm sorry, I'm not saying the 80s, right? It's the 90s. They were in the late 80s, early 90s, or more the 90s time, right? Is Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank. So, anyways, their kids, Mike Sarah, their children are fighting each other because their children are already boxers, right?
Oh, okay.
And it's a huge and it's such a big deal, Mike Sarah. Like this event is such a big deal that they were on the Piers Morgan show. Piers Morgan, who's a global news interviewer, is interviewing these two. Yeah, they're interviewing these 2 kids, right? And in 1 week, Mike, Sarah, just so that you understand how popular boxing is, especially if you're really into it, right? In 1 week, they sold 70,000 tickets to be, and that fight's going to be at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, which is the soccer stadium over there in the UK, right? 70,000 seats sold out. Okay, they're the main events. The undercards are amazing also, right? Mike, Sarah, check this out. If you want to pay for that pay-per-view, it's only $24.99. And that's on April 26th. So for $25, you can watch that. So even the pay-per-view prices aren't as bad as you remember in terms of like the Mike Tyson era times where it's getting up in prices, right? But a lot of the programming, Mike, and again, like this weekend, Caps, I told this to Cap, but a lot of the Raider fans who are also boxing fans, they messaged me on Instagram, and I kind of let them know. But this Saturday, Mike, Sarah, there is a total of 5 televised boxing matches around the world. 2 of them are on ESPN Plus. 1 of them is on DAZN, and then the other one is in Australia on Amazon Prime. All of them are free. Every last one of them are free as long as you're subscribed to these things. And there's a YouTube channel called Pro Box TV that if you want to watch free boxing and you want to watch the talents that are up and coming, kind of like Friday Night Fights, or do you remember Tuesday Night Fights on USA Network? Do you remember that, Mike, Sarah? Tuesday Night Fights on USA? All right. So Pro Box TV has taken that over in the United States on YouTube. So any given week, if you ever want to look at it, there's that. But I say that to say that boxing is in such a great space that you can't miss it, man. Like this, Chris from Protect the Shield podcast, he was laughing at me because he was saying, "Oh, you're in heaven this Saturday," because I'm literally going to be watching 12 hours of boxing, Mike. The first ESPN event, Mike, starts at 8 a.m. in Kazakhstan, but it's on ESPN Plus for anybody who has it, right? Yeah. And then the last ESPN fights are happening here in Las Vegas at the Palms, and that's going to end at 8 p.m. So I'm going to be watching it all through that on ESPN from 8 a.m. till 8 p.m. And then I'll also have another screen on with DAZN, and I'll have another screen on for Amazon, because all of these fights, Mike, are like world title. They're big fights. None of them are small fights. They're all amazing. So yeah, I hope you get back into it, Mike. I hope you get back into it. It's a fun time.
I didn't know how much of a boxing person you were, but you know your stuff, so that's pretty cool.
And Mike, it's like, and this is why, as a Raider fan, I always try to explain to people, like, look, man, if you're trying to get into it, and I get it, you like the silver and black, you like the color, blah, blah, blah. But if you really want to be a Raider fan, you guys got to go on YouTube and you got to watch the 70s Raiders and those early 80s Raiders. I mean, really, like I think a lot of the fan base from my age group got into it, you know, with the Bo Jackson, right?
Me and Captain lived that. I mean, we saw it on TV.
Right. And that's what I'm saying is, like, to look back and go back and watch those games are amazing. Like, that's what football really looks like. Is, I mean, I get it. Like, a lot of the people don't like the rules now. Obviously, it's a safety thing, right, Mike? I remember watching NFL films when they did Jim Plunkett, Steve Young, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, and Joe Montana. And they were talking about, hey, you know, with the safety, what would you do now? Blah, blah, blah. And we've now gotten to a time where everybody believes that these football players are soft, right? And I can understand an argument for that. I can also understand the argument that maybe these football players are so much faster and bigger now, though, that it would be even more dangerous if we let them play like they used to play in the 70s, and we might actually see people get hurt.
The one thing I remember from 1976 watching the Super Bowl was the hit that Jack Tatum did on Sammy White coming across the middle, and he knocked him so hard his helmet was flying off. It looked like he decapitated him, and that was like, you know, definitely a penalty get kicked out of the game hit today. Back then, it was part of the game.
Yeah, and now
I actually have when Jack was alive, and I went to when I went to Raider Mecca, and Jack was still alive. I had him autograph because he had pictures that he was going to autograph. Him standing over Sammy White, and it was a black and white. It wasn't the color one, but I had Jack Tatum autograph that picture that was my Jack Tatum autograph for that picture. It's over there in my stuff.
He had his fist clenched, and he just looked over. And who was the other? There was another guy that hit him at the same time too. It wasn't only Tatum. I can't remember the other guy that hit him. But I've never seen anybody.
I think it was George Atkinson. I think it was George Atkinson was on the other side of that. Maybe it was either or a linebacker, but I'm pretty sure it was Atkinson because he went over the middle, and Tatum and Atkinson just crunched them together.
Yeah.
And Mike, I used to love the Bob Brown hitting people with his cast.
There you go. Okay, hey, one real quick thing. I know you got to go. I just want to give my opinion of the signing of Geno Smith. I thought we overpaid for him, but that's just my opinion. If he does well, that's great. I think we need to build up the offensive line to protect him because if we can keep him upright, I think he can be productive. So I think that's where we need to look at in the draft is build that offensive line. I'd also like to get a linebacker too. That would be nice. So I'm not a huge Gente fan. I mean, I think he's going to be a great running back, but I don't. He needs to be on a team that already has all the pieces, and we don't have all the pieces. So that's my opinion. That's
a good opinion. That's a good opinion, Mike.
And I'm not mad because we have Geno Smith, and I'm not upset because we paid him a lot of money. If he produces, I think everybody will be happy. So anyway, well, I'll let you guys go.
Thanks, Mike. Thank you. Okay. I'm going to send you.
Mike,
I'm going to send you those replays.
Do that.
Yeah. And Mike, just for you, like I did the extra 20 minutes because you popped in at the very end. I did the extra 22 minutes for you.
You need it.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
But anyway, thanks again, Mike. Remember, you owe me an extra lap. I'm not feeling good. I have a chest pain, so I'm gonna make sure that's not something that's bad. Yeah, but I think it's because I had a big dose of Mexican tonight, so maybe it's my arteries are not liking me at this point, but. I'm gonna try to get it squared away. But again, Mike, you take care, and Angelo, you remember look for Angelo to be on here. Well, hopefully with Jason Dean, and we'll get anything squared away. But and Mike, you're always welcome. But people are saying they can't hear you, so work on get a better microphone.
Yeah, I know. I'm in the gym. I got the phone to my mouth, and I still don't think I'm loud enough. So sorry. Okay, guys.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I'm not trying to be a dick. It's just that I want to make sure that people can hear you. So I'm passing along the stuff where they can do that.
No, that's fine. I appreciate letting me know that.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I'll let you go. Take care.
Yeah, it's hard, and we're there. Mike, hey, Mike, thanks again, brother. Take care. Always good hearing from you. Okay, thank you again, there, Mike. And I'm gonna pop Angelo. I'm gonna let Angelo close the show. I'm gonna go because he needs to practice this. Okay. I'm gonna go. And I'm going to let Angelo close the show, and then he's going to run the roll at the end. So for those out there, I bid you an adieu. Hopefully, I'll get my contractors squared away, so I know what's going on. So maybe by Sunday, I'll know what's going on. I don't know.
So, Cap,
I will hopefully, fingers crossed.
The new one is the new outro is the Captain Jack Autumn Wind one, which kind of also has the Northeast streaming with it now, right? And then is it that we're now the Captain Jack show is on Sundays is sponsored by the Black Hole and theblackhole.com?
Well, I'm trying to get stuff to say that, but the new outro or the old the outro and the intro are the same, other than I do the promo for the Northeast Streaming Sports. I do that at the beginning, but you don't have to do it at the end. Just do the regular intro, outro, and you're good.
All right, cool. And again, hopefully sponsored by theblackhole.com.
Hopefully we got that. And I'm going to go. Angelo, it's always a pleasure, brother. I'm going to duck out. I'm going to give it to you. You got it, brother. You take care. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, Cap. Thank you. All right, everyone. So as the co-captain, as you know, and when Captain Jack's not here, I try to host it for you guys. It was a great show. I want to thank Captain Jack for giving us the history, a little bit of history about John Vella. Rest in peace to the great Raider legend that we have. And it was great talking to you, everybody here about Geno Smith. I think we got a good one here. I think it'll be a great season. Possibly sponsored Sunday shows, possibly sponsored by the Black Hole. Become a member of Black Hole. Check out their website and be a member. And other than that, guys, as you know, when I do some of these shows, thank you to Mike Sarah for coming in, because I do like to talk that boxing whenever we get a chance to. And with that, we are out. Check us out again on Sunday night. Sunday night, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. It's also on the Roku channel. And come join us if you can. All right, everybody, I'm out.